All right, let's talk about date transformations. So we receive date from in multiple formats depending on the source of the data set. We receive it in a different format, which can range from MMDDYY to DDMMYYY, and sometimes in text, dates which contains text. So Excel will treat it as date when our system date format matches with the date format which we have received. So in this example, my default system date format is actually MMDDYY, and hence wherever it has received date in that format, it has automatically accepted it as a date. And the common benefit of that is that I can actually format it the way I want it, and second is I can apply filters because my dates are grouped accordingly, and I can do some advanced filtering, also relative and advanced filtering, which is not possible in the cases where it is in text format. I cannot perform all such tricks. So and I cannot perform any I cannot apply any formulas which works on date on this. So let's see how we can do quickly transform dates, different formats of date in such a way that Excel recognize it as a date. So we'll take it in two parts. The first part we'll see how we can do it in Excel without using a Power Query, and then we'll learn to the same thing in Power Query. So let's take this example where it is DDMMYYY, which is a format for India or English speaking nations, most of the English speaking nations. This is for US, MMDDYYY. So how we can actually transform this? So I'll select the data, the dates, then I'll use text to column, which is on the data. Alternatively, I can use a keyboard shortcut Alt-DE. Then it will bring me the text to column window. So I'll select so let's keep the first option delimited. Let's click next, and then we'll select tab, and then click next. Under the third screen, we'll use this option for date, and here I can pick and choose how my date is my current data is structured. So in this example, my data is structured as DMY, so I'll select it and I'll click finish, and that is it. It quickly transformed it into the date format. So without applying any formula and without worrying about doing any advanced calculation, I can use text to columns to help me transforming a text, any unsupported format or different format into a date format. I can apply the same thing on certain text date types. So for example, it will work on this. Let's read the step. I'll select the dates, and then I'll do Alt-DE to pull text to columns, and delimited, tab, and then end date. Now in this case, my month, I have a structure month date Y because it's June 23, 2019 as of in the row 2. So I'll select MDY, and then I click finish, and that is it. So it has again transformed it from text to date. This may or may not work for a complete date, and for example, if we'll perform the same step on this, it will transform certain segments of date but not all. So in such cases, Power Query actually works great in that. So let me undo all that, and let's load this data to Power Query. So with this any cell selected, I'll go to data, from table or range. So and then first it will transform it to table, and then it will load to Power Query. My Power Query has loaded, and as you can see, what happens is if the default date format matches with the Excel data type, it will automatically transform it into date. So since the three columns had the exact same structure, MMDDYYY, here also it was month, date, and year, and here also month, date, and year, it has transformed it, but not in this, because the system format doesn't match. So what we can do in such cases, so that as you have seen earlier, that if we can select transformations by using this. So data has loaded into Power Query, and as you can see that my 3 columns, Power Query has recognized it as date. And why it did that? Because the default the current date formats for all this, or the data structure for all these 3 columns, is matching with my default date format, which is month, date and year. So here it was MMDDYYY, here it was month, date and year, here also it was month, date and year, and that's why Power Query has quickly recognized it and quickly transformed it into the date format, but not in this case. And it's the only reason is that the structure is different. So how we can transform this? So one way of transforming it is that we can select this data type here, and I can move it to date. But the moment I'll say that date, so let's see what's happened if I'll do date. All right, when I'm selecting it, giving me it's asking me a question where since the last step was change of type, do you want to add an additional step for type change, or you want to adjust it in the current existing step? So because in the existing step and under change type, it has recognized DDMMYYY as text. So it's asking whether I want to replace it as a date, or I just want to add a new step. So usually what we prefer is that if we are sure about the transformation, we say replace current. But in this case right now, I'll say add new step, because we have to reverse it. So let's add a new step. Okay, right. So now as we have added new step, we can see here that for certain rows it has performed the date transformation, which may not be accurate, but it has. But and for certain rows it is giving me error, and the reason why, because it's treating it as month, date and year, and since 23 is not a valid month, hence it's returning me an error for this. So how to tackle such scenarios? So we'll not use this date transformation, but we'll use using locale. So I'll click using locale, and this using locale, I can define what should be the native date type. So let's see. So what is my data type? My data type is date, so I'll select date, and here by default, as you can see, for date, the United States structure goes with month, date and year. I can let's pick Switzerland, or Switzerland has this format structure DDMMYYY. So now I'm telling Power Query that treat this column as date, and the structure of the date is DDMMYYY. Let's click OK. The moment I'll click OK, it has made that transformation. So whenever we come across a structure which is not same as my default system format, I can use the option of using locale, and I can pick and choose whatever date structure is corresponding to this. So, and when you click on different options available here, it will give you how it is treating what is the exact date structure. So you can pick and choose, or you can just Google it also. What is a date structure for a certain country? Right, let's transform this. So we need just date here, so I'll transform it from date time to date. And so apart from this date transformation, other transformations which we usually do is we extract year, we extract number of days in a month, or a week starting, a week beginning, or week ending. All such transformation is available within Power Query. And for that we really don't have to type any formula, we don't have to write any formula. So for example, if we have to get month out of it, or let's say year, we want an additional column for year as a year from this. So with this column selected, I'll go to add column, I go to date and year. So it has applied inserted a column with a year from this date. Similarly, I can, if I need a month column for month name, I can go to I can select the column, go to add column, date and month, and I'll say name of the month. So in Excel I had to write formulas. Here I really don't have to. So all this date transformation is pretty simple and easy in Power Query. Additional transformations or additional calculation which are available here is so let's say days in the month, how many days we have available in the month, everything it's available at the help of mouse click. Similarly goes for the week, start and end of the week, quarter, start of the quarter, end of the quarter, quarter of the year, all that is available within Power Query. All we have to identify what is our requirement, and accordingly we can select make selection. There is one important thing which we have to take care of, is that there are two segments. One is transform and another is add column, and there are certain features which are common among these two. So for example, you will find text column, number column, and this date and time column under add columns also and under transform also. The only difference between these two are is that when we select anything from the transform column, it will perform that operation on the existing column. So for example, if I'll perform the same operation which we did for year, let's say I want to extract year out of it, so and I want to replace the existing column, so I really don't need this as date, I just need year here. So I'll select this, I'll go to transform and I'll say year. So my date is gone and it has been replaced by year. So let me undo this. Similarly, I can do other additional transformation. For example, I need to add a column. Let's add a column with difference from today. So this date today minus this date. If you have to perform this calculation, we have to write this formula in Excel, that this date today minus this date. Here all I have to do is I'll select the column, I'll go to add column, date, and I'll say age. This will give me the age as a date, the data type and duration and number of days, 409, and hours, minutes and seconds, and then I can perform some additional calculation it. So I'll go to transform and I'll click on duration with this column selected, and if I need in total years, I'll select total years. So in two steps I have in two simple clicks actually, I have first calculated the difference from today's date to this date, and then I've calculated how many years has been elapsed since that. So all such transformation is available within Power Query, and it's pretty easy to use actually. So apart from this, actually we can subtract two or more two date columns also. For example, if we need a difference between this date and this date, so I'll select this date first and second this date another, and then I'll go to add column, date, and subtract days. Right now we'll get 0 as a result because both dates are same, but if you want to take a difference out of two dates, that's what we need to do. So this is more on date transformation. There are additional transformations available, but it depends on how well you want to use this Power Query. But these are some basics one which are easy to use and we can implement in most our reports. And the best part about Power Query is that we have to perform the steps only once. Let's say once we have performed this, and then if my data set refreshes, it will perform all these tasks just like a recording macro. So all I have to do is hit refresh and it will perform all these tasks, and I have automated my process. Right, so in next segment we'll see more about text transformation. Thank you.